Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 5. More fan reactions. What an emotional day today. This is our 5th live stream. And yes, this is going to be the final one we get in for today. I promise we will be back doing this again tomorrow. I want to thank all of you. Several of you have been through all of the live streams. And, we talked a little bit of spoilers. We've talked about some what we're looking forward to with Judith. And I think it did not disappoint. You even saw Melissa McBride just a couple minutes ago, hopefully, talking about how she got cold chills when she read the script with Judith. Very much like what we talked about yesterday. And it's so funny how we talk about whether or not The Walking Dead, the actors and the showrunners and the writers are aligned with us. And I think they are. I think they do these tests and watch videos and read the news and they see where we're at with it. So for her to have that same reaction, and Andrew Lincoln said the same thing, you can see that they know what we're looking for and they know exactly what we want, what we need. I thought it was also important for Scott Gimple to just point out that the Rick journey is not over, and I'm hoping that many of you will just be around for that journey, because we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. We're going to continue to look for hidden clues, Easter eggs, and just do an analysis of the show. So we've seen several new people join our stream just within the last couple hours, 300 or 400 additional subs. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here. Once again, there's a lot of places you could be on a Sunday, and the fact that you choose to hang out with us is phenomenal. And there'll be more people to jump in here in a little bit, because we did start the stream a little bit early. So I see. Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate that. Lakeisha, are you feeling a little better about the whole Rick Grimes story? I know you were, when you got the spoiler information, you were happy. And hopefully the news that they're going to expand the universe makes you even happier. Yeah, I'm going to jump around, just read a few comments. So I do want to know what part of tonight's episode was the most exciting. I've got like 6 pages of notes right now. And I'll give you like my reaction, but based on what you knew about the spoilers, what surprised you the most in tonight's episode? That's what I'm looking for. Steven says, Judith will save the show. She's definitely, even next week's sneak peek, she said, I made the choice. She is not backing down in her decision making. Very confident. Yeah, it was nice to see Daryl picking him off. Joe Fulford said, are these new people part of the Whispers? No, they're not. Magnus just like a small militia group. So, Joe, they're going to help fight the Whispers. But it was also nice to see Scott Gimple say the word Whispers, wasn't it? Like, it admit, like, this is out of episode 127, and this is the direction the show is going to go. Brand new story. Drama King says, Kills, I'm glad to see the preview confirmed. Yeah, Daryl has not changed much in 6 years. Did anyone else kind of read between the lines with Scott Gimple? Did he look like the Whispers were going to be really scary? You know how we've talked about this in many of our streams, how they're going to kill without regret, without regard of what backstory or no sympathy whatsoever. He even seemed like he was a little afraid to talk about him, because I just think it's going to be a whole different level of violence. Yeah, I definitely felt that as well. Brian Wortham says, my favorite part was Rick and Shane. Maybe not my favorite part, but one of the most surprising parts was when, because I wanted to see where that Walker face was going to show up in Rick's face, and the fact that Shane sort of turned into that Walker, like it went from Rick's, delusion to the Walker being right, wake up, and then you see that one right in his face. And I've been looking for that one, like, where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? Westwood Chronic says, Judith putting on the hat was passing the torch to Grimes Chronicles. Well, if you guys have been here through all the streams today, most of you have. We did a video earlier today and said Judith could be the next Rick Grimes. And I mean, we said it in jest, but yeah, she will be a confident decision maker. She'll have some of Rick's confidence and with Carl's arc and her own uniqueness to the role. Really looking forward to that and how that character is going to play out. Yeah, Donnie Blair. Yeah, Alpha, Beta, scary storyline. I agree, Sheldon Arthur. I think the future is looking very bright for the series. Once the dust settles a little bit, there's going to be critics. I mean, we will analyze the show as well. Tomorrow we'll do a complete recap of the show, and there's going to be things that come out. And the one thing you have to remember, you can't be overly realistic on a show that is based on unrealistic events and happenings. I mean, that's the thing I always remind myself, like, yeah, he probably wouldn't have survived it on the bridge, but we are watching a show that has people turning into undead. So there's sometimes you just got to go with the flow and go with the entertainment. And I'm here to be entertained and to talk about it. I mean, if you think about this, and this is something we're going to do this year too, and I want to draw the comparison, is Game of Thrones. For the last couple seasons, I've had people saying, hey, Kills, put together a group, let's get together, talk about Game of Thrones. And we will this season, but the sad part of it is that there's only, 10 episodes, and this is the last season. So we'll ramp it up, but we're also, spinoffs for Game of Thrones would be good. But when you are around the show and you know that the star of the show is leaving, it is going to be different, and we didn't want a complete reboot of the show. So the fact that we get Rick in a mini-series or movies, however they're going to play that out, and then we're going to get other Walking Dead, whether it's a he story or whether it's a backstory, they want to tell this story in a lot of different ways. And just like a movie theater would, I think they're going to have the ability to draw in new fans. And the show should give you enough of a base to watch these movies, and the movies should create enough interest for people to go back and watch the show. And the show and the movies hopefully create enough interest where people come to 999 and hang out with all of us and talk about it. Because, that's something that we're going to try to give people is live, interactive conversations where your comments are included. We get them in the video, and we try to predict these things and talk about them and see how they all play out. So another, I've got several notes, but I'm going to give you a few things that I thought was absolutely amazing, is the voices that Rick kept hearing all throughout the, what's your wound? And when he was in the hospital and he heard time to go, the scene with Shane, where he comes around the corner, you saw the helicopter in the background, and there were a couple times where he switched scenes where you could hear the helicopter overhead. So the fact that he sort of dreamed about a helicopter and then a helicopter rescued him, I think is a little bit of, I know it's foreshadowing, but it's not very realistic either. But it's cool that it happened either way. And I did like the fact that Rick, in his own sort of way, felt like he was saying sorry to people that he let down. He felt like he let them down, and they, reassured him like, you didn't. It's about passing it to the next group. Julie McGuire with the Super Chat says, was it confirmed that Andy will be in the movies, or will it be recast? I missed the answer. Scott said, they're not recasting him. No way. Even mentioned, he said, he's looking forward to other projects, and there is one Rick Grimes, and he will be the one playing it. Yeah, now that he's off the show, there's zero chance I would want to watch a recap. They would kill it. All the momentum that they gained from tonight's episode and keeping him alive, they would lose it if they put somebody else in that role. So, no. Gimple was the way he talked about the show sounded like a kid in a candy store. But, I think Scott Gimple's kind of in the same situation as many of us are. Like, we love the show, and we don't want the show to end, and he clearly doesn't want it to end. And just to have all these new projects that he was ready to roll out, I think it was refreshing. So Regina said, when Andy said Rick Grimes is in the show, I was like, no way. He doesn't watch. Well, the truth is he's not the show, and I think they found a way to do both. And it doesn't mean that at some point, as long as they do the movie series the right way and keep him alive through that, and that's what we're going to be watching next, right? We're going to be watching how they go about this. At this moment, Rick Grimes is not coming back to The Walking Dead. But as long as they don't kill him in the movies, he could change his mind, and you never know. I think we'd forgive him if they did. A couple more super chats. We got Lee George. Lee's a brand new patron as well. Lee says, the scene with Shane reminded me of Daryl's hallucination of Merle in the woods, being yelled at and told him to move on and survive. Yeah, but it did give you a little bit of that motivation, Lee, but it was also, it was so typical Shane, wasn't it? Like, how's my daughter doing? Just kind of, antagonize him a little bit, and then just to sort of build up to that toughness. Yeah, I thought that was great. So, Deidre Perkins, how do you think Maggie will change after seeing Negan, and do you think he was playing her? I didn't. Also, let's give a hand to Rick's horse. He did a great job and didn't die. I agree with all of that. So, Deidre, first and foremost, I think Maggie is going to leave at the sign of danger. I think she's done. And there's an opportunity with Georgie, and the universe is going to expand. So, yeah, that's probably part of it, too. Maybe she'll make some movies on the side. Could be more than one movie going on, not just the Rick story with the helicopter people, but Georgie and Maggie having their story as well, and watching baby Herschel grow up. I did not think Negan was playing her. I think Negan 100% is broken. I think Maggie's smart enough to realize he was broken. She knew that he wanted to die, and that was not a gift she was going to give him. Negan is broke. So it's going to be a challenge to get him rebuilt. The irony to that is that Negan's whole point was to break Rick and to break the leadership, and without killing an additional person, Rick actually turned the tables and broke down Negan. Incredible, ironic storyline. Jimmy's Jammin' with a super chat says, Kills, if I could rate the episode higher than a 10, I would. How about 10 plus plus? You know what, Jimmy? Why don't we make that a super chat spotlight? How many people at this point, I asked the question earlier, if you thought based on the spoilers, this would be the best episode you've ever seen, how many people after watching it and talking about it and us hyping it up for a week now, how many people just felt like they watched the best Walking Dead episode ever? Let's see. I want to see how the audience reacts to it. I think so. The fact that we've got a ton of people here right now wanting to talk about the show, and if it wasn't the best episode, give me what you think the best episode is. So, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement. All right, I'm going to give you the reasons why I think it was the best Walking Dead episode. And I'm going to ask all the new folks, do me a favor, if you guys thought this show was amazing, if you've enjoyed the streams, if you like hanging out with us, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. We've got 6, 7, 800 people in these streams. Let's try to get as many likes and as many ratings as we possibly can. And if you didn't have a good time, give it a thumbs down. Either way, even if you're watching a playback, we just want to know what you think about our channel. Obviously, we'd love to have a ton of likes, but one way or another, we like to look at these playbacks and say, well, 99% of the people liked it, and there are some people who didn't like what we do. So either way, we just want to get your feedback. And hopefully we do a good job and get you guys to come back, because we love talking about the show. We love talking about the show so much. We will talk about it Monday night at 9:30, Tuesday night at 9:30, Wednesday night at 9:30, Thursday night at 9:30, and sometimes when there's some really hot topics out there, we will stream on Friday night, and a brand new stream we started doing is on Saturday mornings for an international audience, and Sunday is the Walking Dead day, so you can rest assured we got streams going on with that as well. And you will see a lot of these same faces. These, if you're new to the stream and you see all these people typing and all these comments, this is one of the most actively engaged Walking Dead forums you will find anywhere. We want everybody to come here. Even if you hang out other channels and you watch other people's YouTube videos, get over here and talk to us as well. If you're part of the Spoiling Dead's fan page and we know that you do forums and you type and you wait for responses, get over here and talk to us as well. Just keep it respectable. That's the only thing that we ask, but we want a lot of viewpoints and a lot of interaction. So you guys are welcome here. And these people that are in the stream, they are passionate Walking Dead fans, from the comic book to the TV show. No joke. Really, really hardcore serious group. So thank you so much. And I appreciate my army being an army of experts as well. E-Beach. So will Jadis be in a movie? I think so. I could see Jadis, Heath, and Rick in a movie. And the neat thing about this is you're not starting a movie with characters people don't know. That's like a kickstart for them. Regina's Old Soul. I'm still crying. So glad I have kills in the 999 Army for a place to come after. Best family. I was completely distracted. I'm sorry. Regina, here's what I'd like to say is hopefully those are tears of joy, because we thought that we were going to be doing a pretty emotional therapy session. We thought that was a possibility. We predicted he would not die. We predicted he would be taken away on helicopter even before the spoiler sites. But it got darker and darker looking, and I think most of us felt really good about the theory back in June and also in July. We continued to talk about it. But the more information came out, more publications were saying he's dead. There were even people who had claimed to have seen it that said he was dead, and we tried to stand by our guns as much as we could, but it got harder and harder. So we just started talking about other people's theories as well. Goucher with a super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support. Type a follow-up comment. One thing we do here is anytime you guys do super chats, especially when it's streaming, my screen will stop and I will talk about whatever you want to talk about. So you'll find out we also have a ton of super chatters as well, a lot of support for this channel, and they keep the chat active and engaged and involved. So appreciate that. Jimmy Sue Poole says, I loved it. One of the best I'd seen. Awesome. Awesome. Let's see. CPH Mail says, Kills, love the channel. Best episode. Angela Kang is amazing. Wish we had her running the show the last 2 seasons. Super excited about the future. You know what's funny? Thank you for that super chat. Someone said they wished Angela Kang was directing last year, and then Carl would have been taken away on the same helicopter. So, yeah, she did an incredible job. But let's not forget, though, and give credit where credit is due. Scott Gimple did a great job as well in moving to the side, letting her do her thing, which she's very good at. Sometimes, he is over the Enterprise. So they still all report to him, and the sign of a good leader is moving away and letting people show you how creative they can be, and she absolutely crushed it. And it allowed him a little bit more time, I think, to really get everybody hyped up about the universe and what's going to come next. We got Dorothy Martin says, you can tell after the 6-year time jump that Michonne, Carol, Jesus, Daryl, and even Aaron have really changed. Can't wait to see what happens with the group. Incredible job by the cast. Very, very true. It's almost going to be like they're playing somewhat different characters. The characters have gotten a certain comfort zone, and now they look a little bit more nomadic, right? Food's probably harder to come by, more hunting. They seem more direct, more abrupt, and more cautious. They don't appear to be out there looking for anybody. Maybe they are. We'll find out that storyline. But, yeah, they're very particular who they let come back. Chris Riddle said Rick hurt so much and just pushed on for his family, all his friends, felt so bad for Daryl. Yeah, the Daryl scene was hard to watch. Kudos to Norman Reedus as well. Norman just, a great job. You could see it when the explosion happened and him walking away, that he just couldn't face it. The guilt once again. Julie McGuire said Daryl crying, had her crying. Yeah, I think the emotion in Daryl and Michonne definitely hit, and then the inspiration around Judy was a nice uplifting moment to see how that area, that barn they flew over, you see Rick flying over. Next thing you see, it's like old and beat up. It's like, oh, okay, that's the way we knew it was a time skip. Rookie Gaming, thank you so much for that super chat. Another thing, and I know some of you guys are super chatting for the first time, type your comment whenever you super chat, because we'd love, appreciate you guys donating, but we'd absolutely love for you to type a comment so we can read your comment and just hype it up a little bit more. So thank you for that. And moderators, you guys can watch. Hopefully Rookie Gaming has a follow-up comment. Amy Ferrero, super chat, says, Kills, my better half doesn't even watch, but last week said he wonders what's going on elsewhere in the world post-zombie apocalypse. Incredibly moving performances tonight. I'm all in with the movies. Amy, get him to watch. We want, it's just one of those shows, once people get on board, and I don't know, maybe he tried to watch and he didn't like it, but I remember a few seasons back, because I didn't start on episode number 1. I think I started around 5, maybe, but I binge watched it and didn't immediately do commentary on the show, but after a couple episodes, I realized it was about relationships, and I wasn't sure if it was the show for me, because I'm kind of torn, like, okay, it's going to be like sci-fi, horror type, but when I realized it was a lot about relationships, that's when they had me hooked, and just to watch these characters, and that's why it's so personal when you lose these characters, because we watch them, we follow them outside of their jobs and see what kind of people they're like through social media. We don't stalk them, but we know what's going on with them because people publish it. And then when they move on, it's like we lose a little bit. And if you don't have that immediate void filled by another character, this one was good. And this is why I think Magna and Judy replacing Rick is a trade-off, but it wouldn't have been a good trade-off if he would have died. Jenna Misery says, best episode ever. Hard to write out Rick and do it right. Very talented. So excited for Judy. Jada said, I have a B when she saw Rick not alive and bitten or alpha and beta. What do you think now? The injury plays into it somehow, but I'm going to go back and look at all the facts, the A and the B thing, and just see kind of what's been said and what's been... with Father G and with Rick, we speculated alive and bitten, or strong personality, weak personality. So, it could be a person's state that, when they're weakened, that they are a B, and when they're not and they're kind of aggressive, that they're an A. But give me a little bit more time. We'll sort through it. We'll get to the bottom of it, I promise you. Let me jump over here. Got another super chat. This is Westwood Chronic says, and Tara is probably clueless that Rick's gone. Where is she? I don't know. Earlier today, some people were saying Tara could be one of the first victims of the Whispers. So, Don't know. I'm sure the story arc with Tara is a very tough one. There's still a few people that like her, but there's a lot of people that thought she should have been gone already. I'm going to reserve comment on that. Neufeld 12 says, will they show flashbacks of the past 6 years? I don't think it is their intention to do it, Neufeld 12. I think it is more, if they need to bridge a gap, I think they will, but I think they want us to kind of be in the here and now, which is 6 years ahead of time. Amy Ferreira says, someone's got to watch my kids during the show. Oh, there you go. That's a follow-up to her husband. It's like, hey, you take care of the kids. I'm watching Walking Dead. Fair enough. I'm with you. He can watch the playback, though, right? Or, you know what? He can tune into our live streams from time to time, and when the kids are asleep, because we do some late live streams, problem solved. And we'll get his, and obviously he's good at predicting, because he's talking about expanding the universe. Legend Italian says, kills. I'll assume the current survivors don't know Rick's actually alive. Also, this episode is 10 plus for me. Angela Kang is amazing. I agree with all three of those. They don't know Rick is alive. They don't know what happened to him. The helicopter scene, I mean, you know, once again, we could say Rick should have been more injured if he got blown up and blown off the side of the bridge. We could also say this is the third or fourth time the helicopter's flown over and no one knows about the helicopter. So maybe Negan will bring it up at some point when they start to expand out a little bit more. We got Kay Hensley says, surprising Maggie let Negan live. What's your thought? Glad Negan was broken. Kay, I will tell you, I'm not surprised at all, and I'll tell you why. I won't get too far into it, but one of the streams we did back in mid-July, I thought in order for Negan to gain acceptance, several things would have to happen, and one of those things that would be that Maggie would refuse to kill him. And I predicted it would be she'd pull a gun on him, and then either Rick would stop it or interfere with it, or she would just realize she couldn't do it. And many of you in the stream said, I asked the question, I said, if Maggie's confronted with Negan, do you think that she'll kill him? And a lot of people, even in the stream, said no, they don't think she could do it. And that held true. Maggie's personality is she wanted to get back at him, and she ultimately realized that Rick's way was the right way. That's the best way to get back at him. And, yeah, I mean, Negan's in a rough state. No doubt about that. Libertarian Freak 2902 says, how crazy is Negan going to get after yet another 6 years in that cell? Oh, boy. Crazy. That's going to be the challenge. You know, the challenge was to get Negan back to a point where people like him. And that was another thing that we did predict a while back, is that Negan would go a little bit insane. And not that everybody would sympathize, but we also thought Negan's backstory would come out a little bit. We didn't see a visual of it, but we heard him talk about it. And the fact that with Negan, you don't have to win over the entire audience all at one time. The writers were brilliant in what they did with Negan. I got a couple more super chats we'll get to in 1 second, but I could have a whole episode talking about how masterfully they did this. The problem is they created it. They created the problem by making him overly vicious if they ever thought that they were going to, bring him over to the good side. With the Whispers, they don't have that problem. They can just keep them evil from start to finish. But with Negan, the challenge was, visually, we saw him abuse somebody we cared a lot about. So it's been, Rick had to kind of let him off the hook a little bit. Michonne had to talk to him a little bit. Maggie had to spare him a little bit. We had to feel a little bit sorry for him. So there's certain things that are going to appeal to different people. And I think they've had to unleash all those. How Negan reacted to Carl, well, that brought a small percentage of the Negan haters back over to, okay, yeah, we'll accept him. Ultimately, it's going to come down to the majority of the population is not going to fully give in until they need him. And that's going to be the Whisper War. It's going to be tragic. So Bryn Gilligan says, kills and mods, thank you for your hard work today. Best episode ever. Why is Rick a B now? We're still debating that, Bryn. Do you think that Jadis was protecting him in some way from the fate of an A? She had labeled him an A previously. I would, based on that, I don't know what the A and the B stand for, but let's just say the A and the B mean nothing more than maybe an A is an aggressive person and a B is a person that's bitten. That's the only thing I can sort of weed out by the comments. If Rick was an A and Negan was an A, it could be the fact that you're going to have to contain them. And the B is that you're going to have to save them. Because the way she was talking, she said, I need you to do this favor for me to help a friend that helped me. So she acknowledges that she owes Rick, but Rick is in a dire situation. We got Dorothy Martin, the synopsis for episode 6. Carol goes looking for an old friend, and I wonder if that old friend is Daryl. I love this dude's comment. Hang on. Who was it? Hectorito says, A equals alpha, B equals beta. Read the comics! Exclamation point, exclamation point. Hector, in the comics, can you tell me what happens to Rick Grimes if I read the comics? Oh, sorry. I guess the comics are not an exact blueprint for what goes on, are they? Got to change it up sometime, my man. That's why we're here talking about the television show. If I had a super chat for every time someone has said read the comics, oh, we'd have thousands of super chats. Grayland28 says, I love Rick's journey. Was bookended with the song Space Junk by Wang Chung. Just awesome. No doubt. There's so much about Rick's journey that I don't want to use the word complete because, we always want a little bit more. You could say like, okay, we'd like to see Carl in the flashback or, spend time with Judy. Rick leaving has changed everyone. And we may want him to be there and for them not to change. But I think it's also, it's necessary. Let me say this, and please don't take offense to it. If Rick would not have left, they would be building bridges. Rick leaving has hardened the group. It has toughened them up. It has actually gotten all of them ready for the Whispers, as ready as I think they can possibly be. It's sad to say it like that because I know I'm gonna catch some heat from it. They'd be like, "No, Rick's a good leader. Rick would have taken them into war. Rick could have toughened them up." I don't think so. I don't think Rick was ready to do that after the death of Carl. I think Rick really wanted everybody to get along and build build things back up. And they've done that to a certain degree, but there's always a stronger enemy right around the corner. So I'm okay with him being gone. And you know what? Rick being gone might actually toughen Rick up again. Shane made a good point. They need that machete-wielding Rick back. So how many people would like to see a Walking Dead miniseries or movies where Rick is building bridges, or how many people would like to see Rick going out there and kicking some ass again like he did in the first few seasons? Leave your thoughts and comments to that. We got Chance Fox. A is a contributor to society. B is a person who needs protection. He's hurt, but he's strong. I thought you were B. I'm okay with that. I think that sums it up pretty well. We'll probably know by the time they do the movie, but yeah, that's as good as explanation as any I've heard, Chance Fox, so thank you for that. Yeah, Tracy, I had issues from time to time with Rick as a leader. I mean, he always tried. His heart was in the right place. But, I don't think he really wanted to do it. I just felt like Rick wanted to protect everybody. He was a cop. He's a good Southern cop that just wanted to, look out for everybody. Beast Bear wants to talk about Eugene's knife skills. Eugene has some talent. I'm looking forward to seeing Eugene's arc play out as well, too. Steve Smitherman says, I'm so excited about the arc to come. I thought with Rick leaving, I would lose excitement. This is definitely not the case. Just excited as ever. I am beyond relieved at the amount of Walking Dead fans who were extremely passionate about this episode. Because over the last 4 months, it's been such a... We knew we'd be at this moment. And I'm going to tell a little story about one of our streams. But before I do it, I'm going to make one more request to the 999 Army, to the brand new folks in the stream. A couple thousand people are going to watch this video before it's finished, before it goes live. You guys, do me a favor. Make a choice. Hit the thumbs up or hit the thumbs down. Let us know if you're having a good time, if you like being here. We want to see a whole bunch of likes. We want to see comments on the video when the video goes live. People are going to be watching the playback, and they're going to respond to your comments. So check out the playback as well and respond to their comments when they're responding to your comments. So I'm going to do a super chat and tell you kind of about a moment in one of our streams. So this is Sayin Raised on Earth says, if Rick comes back, do you think it'll be reuniting with Michonne at the Commonwealth? Also, thoughts about a Rise of the Governor spinoff. I think both of those would be... there are some things they could do with the Governor, I think, that would appeal to hardcore fans that want to see untold stories. Some, I think they're going to have to be careful. There's no doubt the Rick story would be appealing, I think, to everybody. Like, we want to know. The other ones are going to be kind of like a niche. It's like a small novel. Do I think a lot of people would watch? Yes. But do I think everybody would watch? No. Because there are some that will only be in the here and now. And that's the challenge. All right, so real quick stream story. I don't remember the exact date. And those of you that have been here all summer long and know how many hundreds of times we've gotten together. And they've been fun. But I think it was streamed middle to late July. And, some news was starting to go out, and we were talking about Rick leaving the show. And for whatever reason that night, we started talking about therapy. And it's like, oh my gosh, if Rick does die, we're going to need therapy after Talking Dead. And we just had this concept that we're going toward something that was going to be depressing. And we kept talking about it and how we were going to band together, network together. And we even got a few new people here. And then they came in and we started talking about therapy with them. And for the most part tonight, we don't even need therapy. So for me to see the positive comments about the show, because the last thing I wanted to do is put on a mic and have people just in tears. They did the best possible thing they could do with the show. They gave Andy his exit from television. They kept the hope and the dream alive of Rick Grimes, and they built a good base for a good story that we're going to follow with clearly defined enemies, and we're going to know who's on the home team for a change. So, absolutely love it. Absolutely love what they've done. Got another super chat, and this is Ecom says, I'd like to see Rick wake up in a new mystery. I do, but Rick waking up in a movie, and I think it hit everybody emotionally, right? That's the only kind of, I'm trying to think through this, like, if any of us, say we were writers and we wrote the Walking Dead Rick Grimes story, and his helicopter just landed. His loss, I mean, the first thing I think I'm going to feel is, oh my God, it's going to be so depressing because he's going to miss Michonne and Judy. So, yeah, that's going to be very tricky of how they roll that movie out, because I just don't want to be saddened and depressed like the first 15, 20 minutes of it. I kind of just want to get into the action. But it's going to be hard to do without, putting the hardcore fans in that situation that we might not be feeling the loss right now, but as soon as the movie started, it'd be like, oh yeah, now we gotta mourn for what Rick just lost. It's going to be a tough one. Joe Salazar says, Andy is fine and dandy. Yeah, I think he's happy for a break, and I think he's excited for what's next. We got Ginger Ops Gamer with a super chat. Thank you so much. Once again, if you guys are super chatting, then type a comment down below. Hopefully we can catch it. With a lot of people in the stream, hopefully we can just talk about it at that moment. But there's several... Oh, no problem, man. No problem. I like that comment. So Ginger Ops Gamer says, sorry I couldn't give more love for your videos and what you do. You know what? That comment alone means the world to me, so thank you. I absolutely enjoy being here, talking about the show and giving us a forum to express our opinions in. And it's been overwhelmingly positive today. Carl Weezer says, the horse is officially the worst pet ever. I love the horse. I thought that horse could have hit the road. Yeah, okay, he did try to throw Rick off a couple times. But he could have left. He didn't abandon him, and he waited a couple times when Rick needed to get back on him. So I think it's a trade-off. I think they're even. All right, jumping around here. Zane Mahan kills. I think we missed one thing. Where was the Heath RV this episode? Jadis was driving it. Good point, Drama King. The horse could only take so much. I think the horse did a tremendous job. Well, one thing that it does probably put to rest is now I can probably pretty safely say that my theory about the Whispers being connected to the helicopter, that's pretty much shot. Say and Raised on Earth says, Scott Gimple has been plotting out all the expansion of the Walking Dead universe the whole time. What are your thoughts on what you want to see in the future? That is a great question, and I have thought about that. The one thing that I wanted to see is I wanted to see a more northern, like a cold area, right? Like Michigan or Buffalo, New York, or Canada, or Alaska, or something. Where there's places that have been inhabited, and find out what happens to walkers in really, really cold situations. Like snow. I also want to see storylines for things like government officials, billionaires. I think that's a story that could be told. I mean, it's one of the common themes that we talk about in our shows. Like, what would you do? So let me ask this question, and I don't know if they can kind of do it. If you had access to, keep it clean, everybody, keep it clean. If you had access to anything in the world in a zombie apocalypse, what would be one thing that you might experience that maybe they haven't shown on The Walking Dead. I mean, Strand had that nice big yacht. That was nice. And I think that's a part of the show that, we think about like, okay, well, that's the other coast. That's the way it went down. But is there something you ever thought about like wouldn't you go find another tank or something, or go find something? A helicopter? Flamethrower? There you go, Mad Velvet. Live on a houseboat or a yacht, and I'd like a submarines. So they may not entertain all of them. Lush Hotel, that was in Fear the Walking Dead. So some of it they've already done with Fear the Walking Dead. So Ecom says, will Rick find out how the virus started? Biowarfare. Maybe Robert Kirkman will let them tell a little bit more of the story. I think it's a fair question. I think we're a long way away from that, especially if the Walking Dead universe, they're saying we got another 10 years ahead of us. I wouldn't hold tight for a explanation of the virus just yet. We're probably 6 or 7 years away from that. Jimmy's Jammin' Kills. I was talking about being in therapy for months after this episode, but really not the case at all. I'm stoked to see what is next. Well, Jimmy, what is next for us? And that's a pretty good segue, because tomorrow night we're going to do a complete episode recap, because I can't let these 6 pages of notes go to waste. Things like, obviously Jadis in the RV, how Jadis was freaking out. She had the gun, so was she going to shoot herself? Was she going to shoot the people in the helicopter? These are the things that I want to talk about. Rick's journey as he rode along, really the interaction with each person and what each of those interactions meant. Negan, obviously, is a big storyline, begging to die, and can't kill himself. He's tried to kill himself multiple times, but he just can't come through with it. And, the look on Rick's face at the end, he couldn't even talk to anybody, and you just felt like he thought they were an illusion because they weren't real when they were running by him on the bridge. I was hoping that one of them would run through him, and that way it'd feel kind of like a ghost effect. And I don't want to highlight definitely and say I called that one, but I did say I had doubts that everything that was going on the bridge was real. Just because the positioning, and when we first saw that in the trailer, in the Comic-Con trailer, it's like, why is everybody running by Rick if he's injured? So it kind of worked out. It's when you piece it together, it feels good. When you don't, you try to forget all those things. It's like we're not going to talk about all the bad predictions. We got to be careful, because then people are going to accuse me of being an insider. But just keep in mind, every season we will do this. And it is like I'm going to call it my funnel theory. It's where we just take all the visuals, all the rumors, and we just put it like in one thing, and you may call it deductive reasoning. I guess that'd be kind of more appropriate. But funnel theory sounds cooler, because we're going to funnel it down to like 1 or 2 real things. And I think as we just started eliminating things, we really got it to a good place. June Smith, will Rick ever come back to The Walking Dead? From everything they're saying, which this is funny because earlier today we did a stream and I asked each of you and said, now that you think that Rick is, or now that we know that Rick's going to survive it, do you think Rick will come back on the television show? And a high percentage, and I would say 95% of you said yes, he's coming back to the TV show. But now that you've sort of seen the direction of it, I think if we ask that same question, people don't think he will ever come back. They think that story is done. But there's bigger things for him to do. And this is why I said his relationship with Rick Grimes is far from over. He told us the answer before. I mean, we had the answer at Comic-Con, right? Point blank, he told us. All right, I got another super chat. Let me jump over to Amy Ferrero says, I loved Rick's nod to Daryl at the end when their eyes connected. Yeah, that was, this is one of the episodes that I really liked it. I don't know that I need to watch it again. So, question for each of you. Are you going to watch it again? I usually watch them multiple times, especially if there's hidden clues. But 701, only watched it one time. Can't watch it. This one is another one of those. I don't know that I need to see it again. I think I got almost everything I needed out of it. It was very rewarding. It hit everything. Mitch is like, I'm watching it again now. So there's several people already beat me to it. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Tara's like almost done with the second time. Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. He is alive, but at what cost? And we thought these people in the helicopter might be evil. I don't think they are. I mean, I was worried about him getting in the helicopter, but now maybe he's going to have some people to partner with, and maybe he's going to affect more people than that little zone, and the world could open up to him. You know, Rick's just been on his journey from Atlanta to Washington, D.C., and now he's going to be privy to stuff that not a lot of people know of. True. Samantha, that's a great point. They gave him oxygen. No need to keep him alive if you're just going to hurt him again. I'm just catching up with a few of the comments. So, very, very good stuff. You know, with that being said, everybody, and we got a huge audience here, and just amazing dialogue. I want to thank each of you for, one, being very courteous and professional to people in the streams, because we didn't know with the reaction video how we knew how it was going to play out, but we didn't know how everybody was going to react to it. And I think the news really helped light a fire under Walking Dead fans that, you know, even, you know, fans of the novel are now looking at it like, yeah, that's cool. Now they're going to go back and tell some of the stories that I've been waiting to see them tell. So I think Scott Gimple and company gave a lot to the fans today. It felt initially like they were going to take something away, but I think they gave a lot more than they took away. And that's a win for all of us. So we are officially converted over from Walking Dead Day on Sunday to now we are Monday morning in my part of the country. So I am going to wind this stream down, and we're going to do this again at 9:30 tomorrow night. I just want to extend a invitation out once again to all the people who have been here since 11 o'clock this morning with the first stream, and then 3 o'clock, and 8 o'clock, and 10:15, and this one. Thank you so much for your support. It is now you might think that we're going to wind down because, well, you know, the big reveal moment is Rick leaving the show. You could not be more wrong. We are going to ramp it up. We're going to keep talking about the show. We talk about Fear the Walking Dead. We will be right there in the forefront. And as proof for each of you, we will be back here at 9:30 tomorrow night talking about this. And I got to be honest, I love big crowds. So, and the reason I love big crowds is because we get a lot of ideas, we get a lot of good theories, we can think about things that we've never thought about, and we can eliminate things as a team. So you guys have been incredible over this last 5 to 6 month journey, since 5 months since Comic-Con. Thank you so much. We will be back here 9:30 Eastern Time tomorrow, and I expect each and every one of you to be here with us as well. If you're working, something's going on, watch the playback. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. One thing that we try to do at the end of most of our streams, and if we're in a hurry, we don't, is I like to give a lot of shout-outs. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Now, I know with thousands of people, we can't do that each and every time. So I am going to start out with the Patreons and say, everybody in the top left-hand corner, those are the Patreons. They support this channel through a third-party website. They make monthly contributions. They are incredible. They get information sometimes a little bit earlier. We do custom polls. They get pictures. They get things outside of YouTube. So just a little bit different. If you guys are interested in becoming a Patreon, there's a link down below. In the top right-hand corner, we have sponsors. Sponsorships are closed off right now. So they're kind of limited edition sponsors. So if you want to be a sponsor, you can always become a Patreon, at least until YouTube opens it up for everybody. We also got Dorothy Martin with another super chat. Says, wonder if he'll meet up with the group in the movies. One thing Scott Gimple said, Dorothy, is that they would be able to bring people back from the past and play with the past, present, and future. So I think anything is a possibility. Also, I want to give a super special shout out to the moderators who do an amazing job. Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, thank you so much for everything you've done over the last 4 or 5 months, and also for everything that you guys did today. It's been a long, long day. And let me get to the super chatters real quick, too, because a ton of people were super chatting, and I just want to give them an additional shout out. So I'm going to read through these really quickly. Joe Fulford, Westwood Chronic, Julie McGuire, Lee George, Deidre Perkins, Jimmy's Jammin', Regina's Old Soul, GG, CPH Mail, Dorothy Martin, Chris Riddle, Rookie Gaming, Amy Ferrero, Jenna Misery, Newfield 12, Legend, Talion, Kay Hensley, Libertarian. Who else we got? We got Dorothy Martin, Grayland 28, Chance Fox, Steve Smitherman. Smitherman, I call you the wrong name every time, Steve, but I love you, my man. Say and Raised on Earth, Ecom, Joseph Salazar, Gender Tops Gamer. And I think we got everybody except the 999 Army, and that is each and every one of you. So you guys give me, some people got it already. They're doing 999. So everybody else, quick 999 in there, and watch how fast this will stream up. So it's going to be random. I'm just going to be picking people just watch the screen. It goes nuts here. I love this part. Beast Bear, Coma Drug, Nerd Life. I go by Kush, Ida Roma, Ty Beth, Jenna Misery, Kimberly G, Randy Walton, another Kimberly G, Jim 009, or I'm sorry, it was Jim 09, Mona, Brian Moore, June Smith, Cammie, Joyce Andrews, Logan 5, L Woods, Zane Mahan, Donnie Thompson, Lakeisha Faison, thank you, Lakeisha, Kimberly M, Tara Wellington, Stefanella, Ron Burgundy Moore, Scott Duarte, Green 74. Even Green 74 has been on his best behavior the last couple days. I'm loving it. I'm loving how this group sort of came together. Darlene Rainig, thank you. Chris Rainig, Casey Quinn, Tammy Hill, Aaron Chapman, Bryn Gilligan, thank you. Julia Muse, Jimmy's Jammin', 999 Forever, love it, Jimmy. Viola McGowan, Michelle M, Crystal Gibson, Rublo's Channel, Reese, Maurice Gamble, Joseph Smith, thank you so much. Walking Dead Nerd, always a pleasure. Gives me some inside information from time to time as well. Samantha Coombs, Brandon Burns, Potato. All right, everybody. And with that, there's a ton of other people I know I missed. And if I continue to miss you a shout-out, just leave a comment on the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. This live streamer is mentally, physically, and I think emotionally exhausted. It has been it's been a roller coaster today. I thank all of you for being part of that. But the good news is I will be back in full effect doing this again tomorrow night at 9:30. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you then. Peace.